Yes, I would, and I haven't changed my views. I believe that access to education at both primary and secondary, as well as at tertiary, should be one that doesn't have a financial barrier across the front door. And we've achieved that in secondary and in primary. And I hope that we will be able to do so in relation to third level as well. The abolition of the then fees that Niamh Breathnach and myself did in 1995, unfortunately was undermined by Charlie McCreevy when he consistently refused to upgrade and inflate the replacement capitation grant. And we're now in the serious position now where there is a financial crisis in the university system.
Okay, well, you say you haven't changed your views, but if we look at the USI, this document that they're spreading around at the moment, it says, I, Ruairi Quinn, education spokesperson for the Labour Party, hereby pledge that if elected, we will oppose and campaign against any new form of third-level fees, including student loans, graduate taxes, any further increase in the student contribution. It's very hard to see, Minister, how this is not a U-turn on your part.
Well, look, we're still in the budgetary process, and the budget will announce all the details, including the education current expenditure. And the difficult decisions that have to be made are still on the table as far as I'm concerned with my Cabinet colleagues. And as the Taoiseach said in the Dáil this morning, these matters have yet to be finalised. But let there be no doubt, as far as anybody is concerned, that the funding in the third level sector is now seriously a barrier to maintaining the standards of excellence which we have. I received on Monday of this week the final report from the Higher Education Authority on the financial situation in our third level sector. This was something that was signalled in the Hunt report, which was published last January. And we as a nation are going to have to look and see how we can continue to have the quality third level education that we have and ensure that people who will benefit from it can participate.
Okay, well, on the basis of that, what you're telling me is something is coming in the form of an increased fee, be it a contribution or a return to full fees or whatever the case is. So therefore, you're saying that you're going to break that promise.
I'm saying that this country has lost its economic sovereignty, that there are unpalatable decisions that have to be made right across the entire budgetary profile for each of the government departments. And I think people should give us the extra couple of weeks when we can announce the decisions that are being made. The Minister for Finance will announce those the Dáil.
But Minister, with due respect, what you're saying is, yes, that you are in a position now where you're going to have to break that promise. You said if the shoe was on another foot today, you'd be outside protesting against your own policy.
I'm telling you that I'm not in a position to confirm or deny or anything else until such time as the budget process is completed. And that, as you well know, is going to be in 3 weeks' time.
What about this reports that were doing the rounds about an increase in the €2,000 student contribution fee rather than a return of college fees? I mean, is that in the mix genuinely?
Look, Jonathan, I would be misleading you and your listeners if I didn't say that in respect of health, social welfare, education and a whole host of other government departments, everything is in the mix at this point in time. And it's a difficult choice that we have to make, and that it's going to be a very difficult choice that people are going to have to live with, no matter what that particular choice is. But I'm not in a position to say one way or the other, 3 weeks out from a budget, what the contents of any one particular item of that budget is. That's part of the collective responsibility of the Cabinet, and in all fairness, another 3 weeks is what's required to finalise that, and then I will happily debate and discuss all of the components that are in that budget, which I will stand over.
The USI today again are going to brand you and your government colleagues as liars. Well,
look, USI is a good organisation. It has produced some wonderful leaders in the past. The Taoiseach is one of them. My colleague Pat Rabbitt is another. And they are doing the job that they are set up to do, and they're doing it, in my view, in a very constructive and effective way.
One of the other things that was mentioned earlier in the week, and it caused quite a lot of consternation, we were talking about on the programme earlier, was this prospect of the removal of the grant for postgrad students. We had people on this programme saying that if that happened, a lot of those people who would be studying at postgrad level would effectively end up on the dole, so it would be a counterproductive proposal. Again, you're saying everything is on the table, but are you really looking at that?
Literally everything that can affect a saving cannot be ignored. Therefore, it has to be looked at. The gap between what we are spending and what we are taking in by way of taxation is 8 billion. That's 8,000 million. There's only one bank in the world that will lend us that money at the present time at rates that we can afford. That's the European Central Bank. And that European Central Bank, along with the European Commission and the IMF, have said, we will give you this money on condition that within a 3-year period you reduce that gap down to a point where it is just 3% of GDP. That is where we are. We have lost our economic sovereignty. We don't control the checkbook. There's 2 signatures on it, signatures of the Irish people and the European Troika. And if the European Troika doesn't see that we meet the targets that have been set out, then we will not get the money that we need to run our essential services in this country.
Yesterday, your cabinet colleague, Willie Penrose, fell on his sword. The decision was taken that the Mullingar Barracks was going to close. He campaigned for that. For him, that was the line in the sand. Ruairi Quinn, where's the line in the sand for you?
The line in the sand for me is that this country regains its economic sovereignty, that the freedom that people fought for many years in this country would be restored to the sovereign people of the Irish Republic, and that we would make our own decisions and in our own way. And that is the line in the sand for me. And until we actually re-achieve that economic independence that successive generations of Irish people fought for, I will do whatever has to be done collectively in order to ensure that we regain that economic sovereignty that Fianna Fáil destroyed and surrendered last year.
And did that include breaking promises that you would have made in the run-up to the election and breaking promises that are very close to the Labour core, not increasing social welfare, not introducing third-level fees again? Would you be willing to break those promises?
We have to look at everything that will get us to that point in time where this country regains its economic sovereignty.
So, yes.
And of course, but I'm not sort of saying that we're deliberately going out to do this or to do that or to do the other. I'm putting your question in the context in which it can only be answered.
And finally, before I let you go, Minister, Willie Penrose yesterday, what did you make of his decision? It was a difficult one for him, and I suppose one that would have caused shock amongst your side of the Parliament, your side of the coalition.
It was a difficult one for him, and everybody understood the problems and the difficulties in which he found himself. There were 4 barracks that are scheduled now for closure and redeployment of the troops. Nobody's losing any job or any employment. Working conditions will change. And the Minister for Defence outlined the options that he had in terms of facing equally difficult decisions in the Defence Forces.
OK. Minister Ruairi Quinn, thank you so much for talking to us today, Minister.
Thank you, Jonathan.